He holds up this bottle to me, and I'm saying, did you drink this whole thing? Something stupid, focusing on this detail, and he is telling me that I can't control him anymore, and that if I really wanted to try, take it. And then he's like taunting me to take the bottle from him. If I really want him to stop, why don't I take it from him? Go on. Kept saying, go on, and kind of gesturing with the bottle towards me. And he does that 2 or 3 times. I reach for it, he'd revoke it, kind of laugh at me. And he's holding out the bottle. I think like maybe the 3rd time or so I get a hold of it. I pick it up and I slam it down on the ground right in between us. There's a tile floor, a white tile floor. And I smash the bottle on the floor. And that really set him off. So stupid. Sorry. It was like a light bulb switch went off. And he starts screaming. I don't know if he backhanded me or hit me normally. I don't really recall, but I remember it sent me down to the ground. I remember by the time I picked myself off the floor, I stand up. He's got a bottle in his hand, and he threw it at me. It missed, thankfully, but I kind of pulled myself back into the bar area. I don't know how much time passed, but at some point he had a broken bottle up against my face, neck area by my jawline, and he told me he'd carve up my face. I don't know at what point in the evening. I couldn't tell you what sequence-wise when that happened, but it was terrifying. It wasn't the first time he said that to me. He said that to me on the plane as well. But this time he was holding a broken bottle to me. I honestly don't remember if I threw anything in his direction. I don't think I did. I just remember him having me by the nightgown. I remember him flailing me, throwing me around. I'm flailing. This is after there were some bottles broken on the floor. I think this is actually after, again, forgive me, I wish I could remember the sequence, but it's flashes. He's throwing these bottles at me. I remember retreating. There were also cans, like soda cans, beer or soda cans, and they're coming at me one after the other, and I keep pulling myself into the bar area. There's a bar behind me in like an L shape. He's standing in the only way you can exit, so I'm kind of trapped in front of this sink, surrounded by bar on 3 sides with him in front of me-ish, kind of front off to the left, and he's throwing these bottles one after the other, and I can feel glass breaking behind me. I remember feeling one of them go by my head really fast. I mean, a real velocity. I remember being terrified. I remember I couldn't move. I couldn't go anywhere. I eventually, he ran out of things to throw. I think that's how I moved myself towards the exit. And I believe that's most likely when we got kind of in this struggle by the bar area, because I remember my feet slipping on the tile as he was slamming me from the wall to the countertops. At one point, he has me up against the wall, and he's punching the wall. He had my, nightgown, and it kind of ripped it off my chest. I remember at one point he's teasing me, taunting me that he has my breasts in his hand. My nightgown came completely off. It was ripped off of me. So I was naked, and I'm slipping around on this tile and trying to get my footing. And I remember slipping on this tile. Glass was underneath me, and I remember just trying to get my footing. You know, I felt really destabilized and felt really vulnerable. I'm naked, and he's flinging me around, and at some point, I'm up against the wall, and he's screaming at me that he hates me, that I ruined his life. Johnny became upset with me for judging him. He was, you know, it was like I couldn't win if I didn't do anything, if I didn't say anything to him about the drinking, if I didn't acknowledge it, it got worse. If I did acknowledge it, it was my fault and I was nagging. And I get it, you know, I wouldn't like to be told what to do either, so. But it made him really angry, and the kids were on this press tour, and I was just concerned about them. I was concerned about them hearing us. Johnny screamed at me in the hotel room, and all I could think were the kids were in an adjoining room. What if they could hear us? You know, I had just met them, and I didn't want them to think poorly of me and hate me, not knowing what was going on, you know, in our behind closed doors. I remember him, it was name calling, and he eventually passed out.
Do you recall what names he called you? Do you recall what he said?
I heard at this time, nagging bitch all the time, called me a he even said that he made a mistake with me, and that he didn't want to, that when we touched back down, he'd get rid of me and I'd go back to, he said some disgusting things to me. I don't know if I need to repeat it. When he dropped me off in London, we had a few days at this hotel that we first, you know, consummated our relationship in, you know, as when we were on the London press tour, and our relationship developed. That was the same hotel, and we were in this same room, which is Johnny liked to be in the same room. And it was really sweet. He got down on one knee and said, I want you to be my girl forever, my woman, my girl. I want you to be the rest of my life. Say yes to me. He said he wanted to spend every day. He promised me that every day when I woke up, that I would wake up and he would make me smile at least once. And that would be his goal. And, you know, I looked into his eyes and I saw my future, hope, you know, like blind hope, so in love. It was one of the most, I can't describe that kind of joy, you know. I thought, you know, if we were married, then this is real. This is real. This isn't a thing of, this isn't chaotic, and this will change. You know, I had so much hope in that moment. And I just said to him over and over again, are you serious? Are you real? Are you serious? Are you sure? Because he didn't have a ring, so I thought, is this an impulse thing? You know, my experience, Johnny, could be very impulsive, and he said over and over again, be my woman forever. I want you to be my wife, my wife, my wife. I, of course, cried, and we had a wonderful evening, and he left shortly after, and I was, like, the next day I had to go to work, and I couldn't tell anyone, and I wasn't sure. Part of me was worried that he didn't mean it, or or that he wasn't sure. I just didn't want it to be an impulse thing, so I didn't want to mention it. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to. And I kind of felt, I walked around for a few days like I had butterflies under my skin. And then he brought my dad out to London with my best friends. And my dad told me, Johnny has asked me permission for your hand in marriage. And I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. At some point in this, get up and move to the front of the plane. And I remember getting up so slowly. I didn't want to aggravate him. I didn't want to give him any excuse to pounce on. I didn't want to upset him. I didn't want him to flip a switch and get worse. I just remember very slow movements. And I slowly get up and move to the front of the plane. And he starts throwing things at me. Ice cubes, utensils. He's calling me a go-getter and then an embarrassment, talking about what an embarrassment I am. I don't know how many times I moved seats. I wish I did. I don't. I remember moving more than once, and Johnny came to me each time, not the other way around. He sits down in front of me at one point, and because I'm not answering him, I was looking out of the window, and he slaps my face. And his friend is in our proximity. And it didn't hurt my face. It just felt embarrassed that he would do that to me in front of people. It was the first time that anything like that had happened in front of somebody.